Hello, and welcome to the Simple English Podcast.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have you here.
This is the podcast where we talk about interesting topics in clear, simple English.
So, if you are learning English or you just enjoy easy listening, this podcast is for you.
And today's topic is a very good one for our first episode. We're talking about how to learn a new language in 2026.
I love this topic because so many people want to learn a language, but they feel lost. They think, where do I start? Which app should I use? Should I study grammar? Should I watch TV? Should I move to another country? Should I panic?
And the answer to that last one is no. Probably no.
Yes, no panic. Panic is not a language learning method.
Although I think some people are using it.
That's true. They download 6 apps in one night, buy 3 notebooks, watch a video called Become Fluent in 14 Days, and then feel stressed before they even learn how to say hello.
Exactly. So today, we want to make language learning feel simpler, more realistic, and hopefully a lot less confusing.
And because this is 2026, we also need to talk about modern tools, AI, online practice, and the fact that people now have more learning options than ever before.
Yes, which is both exciting and a little dangerous.
Dangerous?
Yes, because now it is easier to learn a language, but it is also easier to waste time pretending to learn a language.
That is very true. There is a big difference between learning and doing language learning cosplay.
That is the perfect phrase, language learning cosplay.
Thank you. You are welcome to use it in your personal life.
I will.
So let's start with a simple question. Is it easier to learn a language now than it was in the past?
I think yes, definitely yes.
Why?
Because now people have access to almost everything. You can listen to podcasts on your phone, watch videos with subtitles, talk to tutors online, join conversation groups, use flashcard apps, read easy articles, and even practice with AI at any time of day.
That part is amazing. Years ago, people might have had one textbook, a teacher once a week, and a big dictionary that could also be used as gym equipment.
Yes, a very heavy dictionary. If you dropped it on your foot, you would learn pain in every language.
But I think there is another side to this. We have more tools now, but more tools don't always mean more progress.
I agree. Sometimes people spend more time choosing a method than actually studying.
Exactly. They say, I'm building my language system, but really they're just changing apps every 3 days.
And each new app feels exciting for about 11 minutes.
Yes, then they go looking for the next perfect system.
But the truth is, the perfect system is usually a boring system that you actually follow.
That is such a good point. Real progress is often not dramatic. It's not a magical moment with dramatic music in the background. It's usually just doing small things again and again until your brain finally says, oh, I get it now.
Exactly. So maybe our first big point is this. In 2026, there are amazing tools, but tools are only helpful if you use them regularly.
Yes, a great app that you never open is just decoration.
A very expensive decoration in some cases.
So if tools are not enough by themselves, what actually works?
My first answer is always the same, consistency.
Same for me.
You don't need to study for 3 hours every day. In fact, for most people, that's not realistic. But if you can do a little every day or almost every day, that's powerful.
Yes, 15 or 20 minutes a day can do a lot over time.
Because language learning is not about one huge effort. It is about repeated contact. You need to see words again, hear phrases again, notice grammar again, use the same structures again and again until they start to feel familiar.
Right. A lot of learners think they need to understand something perfectly the first time, but that is not how it works. Language is repeated exposure. It is seeing the same idea in many different forms.
And that can actually be comforting. You do not have to get everything immediately. You just need to keep coming back.
That's important because many learners are too hard on themselves. They hear a sentence, understand only half of it, and think, well, I'm terrible at this.
Yes, but understanding half is not failure. Understanding half is part of the road to understanding more.
Exactly. Nobody learns a language by instantly becoming brilliant. That would be nice, but sadly, the human brain enjoys making us work for it.
Very rude of the brain, honestly.
It really is.
Another thing that works is learning language in context, not just as a list.
Yes, this is a big one.
A lot of people try to memorize long lists of words, and sometimes that helps a little, especially at the beginning. But words become much more useful when you learn them inside real sentences.
Because language is not just vocabulary. Language is how vocabulary works together.
Exactly. For example, maybe you learn the word book. Fine, that's a start. But real language is more like, I bought a book yesterday, or this book is easy to read, or can you recommend a good book for beginners?
That is where the word becomes alive.
Yes, you start to feel how it actually works, and that makes it easier to remember too.
It also helps with speaking because when you learn whole phrases or natural sentence patterns, you're not building every sentence from zero.
Yes, and that matters a lot. Some learners get stuck because they're trying to invent English one word at a time, like they're building a house with one brick and no plan.
And then they wonder why it takes so long.
Exactly. But if you collect useful chunks like I'm not sure, it depends, the problem is, one reason is, I used to, I'm trying to, then speaking becomes much easier.
That's such a practical tip. Learn useful chunks, not only single words.
Now let's move to a classic argument. Grammar. How important is grammar?
Important, but not everything.
I agree. I think grammar matters, but many learners use it in the wrong way.
Yes, some people treat grammar like the entire language. They spend all their time reading rules, doing exercises, and worrying about every tiny mistake. But then when they try to speak, they freeze.
Because they're trying to be correct before they're trying to communicate.
Exactly. Grammar should help communication, not stop it.
I sometimes think of grammar like road signs. It helps you go in the right direction, but road signs aren't the whole journey.
That's a nice way to say it. Grammar gives structure. It helps make meaning clearer. But if you only study grammar and never listen or speak, you're not really learning how the language feels in real life.
Right. It's a bit like reading about dancing without ever moving your body.
That would be a very strange person.
Probably very informed, but not fun at parties.
So our advice here is yes, learn grammar, especially the basic patterns, but don't wait until your grammar is perfect before you start speaking.
Because that day may never come.
And also, even advanced speakers make mistakes sometimes.
Absolutely. Native speakers make mistakes too, quite often in fact,
Yes, sometimes very confidently.
which is honestly impressive.
Now, we have to talk about the big 2026 topic, AI.
Yes, if we do an episode in 2026 and do not mention AI, I think a robot appears and complains.
Probably. So let's talk about it. AI can be very useful for language learners.
Definitely, you can ask it to explain a word simply. You can ask it to correct a sentence. You can practice a conversation. You can ask for 10 examples of a phrase. You can ask it to speak more clearly or use easier English.
And that last part is very powerful because one of the hardest things for learners is finding material at the right level. Sometimes real content is too hard and textbook content is too unnatural. AI can help fill that gap.
Yes, that flexibility is great. You can say, explain this like I'm a beginner, or give me a short dialogue about shopping, or help me practice speaking for a job interview.
And you get instant support, which is amazing.
But I do think there is a trap.
Go on.
Some learners start using AI for everything, and then they stay in a very safe, controlled bubble. Everything is neat, everything is adjustable, everything is patient, but real language is not always like that.
That is so true. Real people interrupt, real people speak too fast, real people mumble, real people change topic halfway through a sentence and somehow still expect you to understand.
Yes, real conversation is messy. It has emotion, tone, slang, jokes, pauses, and weird little phrases that nobody taught you.
So AI is a great helper, but it should not be your whole language world.
Exactly. Use AI for support, practice, and explanation, but also listen to real people, watch real videos, hear different voices, get used to natural speech.
I think the best approach is balance. Use AI as one tool in a larger plan.
Yes, a very smart helper, not your entire teacher, friend, classmate, and emotional support grammar machine.
That is a role AI should not have.
At least, not all at once.
Let's make this practical. Imagine someone listening right now is busy. They have a job, maybe children, maybe study, maybe 1,000 things to do. What is a realistic language learning routine for them?
I would keep it simple, something like 20 to 30 minutes a day, broken into small parts.
Okay, give me an example.
Maybe 10 minutes of listening, 10 minutes of vocabulary or phrase review, and 5 to 10 minutes of speaking out loud.
I like that. It is clear, manageable, and not scary.
Yes, the best routine is usually the routine that feels easy enough to repeat.
Because if your plan is too ambitious, you might follow it for 4 days and then disappear.
Exactly. A plan that looks impressive on paper is not useful if it dies by Thursday.
Poor Thursday, it always gets blamed.
It really does.
So let's break that routine down. 10 minutes of listening could be a short podcast, a YouTube video, or even the same audio again if it's helpful.
Yes, repeating the same audio is underrated. A lot of learners think repetition is boring, but repetition is one of the reasons people improve.
And the second part, phrase review, could be reviewing 10 useful phrases, not 50 random words.
Yes, keep it focused. Things like, I'm looking for, I need to, I'd like to, can you help me, I'm interested in, I'm still learning.
Very useful language. And then the speaking part can be simple too. People think speaking practice only counts if they're talking to another person, but that's not true.
Not true at all. Speaking out loud by yourself is still valuable. You can describe your day, answer simple questions, repeat phrases, or react to something you watch.
For example, today I went to work. I had a busy morning, I answered emails, I forgot my coffee. It was tragic.
That's realistic English.
It's also my autobiography.
And that kind of self-talk helps a lot because it builds confidence and makes you more comfortable producing the language.
Yes, it trains your mouth as well as your mind.
Here is another common question. Should learners focus more on input or output?
Good question. First, let's explain the words. Input is what you receive, so listening and reading. Output is what you produce, so speaking and writing.
Exactly. So what do you think?
I think beginners need a lot of input. They need to hear the language and see the language often. That gives them examples, patterns, and a sense of what sounds natural.
I agree. You need to fill your brain with the language before you can use it more comfortably.
But I also think many learners wait too long to start output.
Yes, I agree with that too. Some people listen for months and say, I'm not ready to speak yet.
And sometimes that becomes a habit. They keep waiting and waiting because speaking feels scary.
So maybe the answer is this. Beginners need a lot of input, but they should start small amounts of output early.
Yes, speak early, even if your sentences are simple. Write a little, even if it is not perfect. Start using the language before you feel fully ready.
Because feeling fully ready is a mythical event. It's like waiting for a unicorn with a dictionary.
A bilingual unicorn.
Yes, very advanced, but unlikely to arrive.
So do not wait for confidence before you speak. Sometimes confidence comes because you speak.
That is such a good sentence.
Now, let's talk about motivation because this is where many people struggle.
Yes, motivation is strong in the beginning. Everything feels fresh and exciting. You imagine your future self speaking beautifully in another language, maybe on holiday, maybe in a cafe, maybe on a train looking mysterious.
Yes, very cinematic. The wind is perfect, the subtitles are beautiful, you say one sentence and everyone is impressed.
Then real life happens. You're tired, you're busy, the lesson feels hard, you forget words you learned yesterday. Suddenly, your mysterious cafe energy is gone.
So how do people keep going?
First, have a clear reason. Not just, I want to learn Spanish, or I want better English. Be specific. I want to speak to customers at work. I want to travel and have simple conversations. I want to understand videos without subtitles. I want to talk to my partner's family.
Yes, a clear reason helps a lot because when motivation drops, the reason is what pulls you forward.
Second, make the habit easy to start.
Very important. Make it easy enough that tired you can still do it.
Exactly. Don't build a routine only for your best, most energetic, highly organized self. Build a routine that works for normal you.
Or slightly sleepy you.
Or I can't believe it's only Wednesday you.
That version of me needs very gentle learning goals.
Same.
Third, track your progress in some way.
Yes, this helps because progress can be hard to notice when it happens slowly.
You can keep a notebook, save your new phrases, or even record yourself speaking once a week for 1 minute.
That is a fantastic idea because when you listen back after a month or two, you may realize you sound much better than before.
And that's motivating. It reminds you that your effort is doing something.
Let's also talk about what learners should do less of.
Comparing themselves to other people.
Huge one.
Somebody online says, I became fluent in 4 months, and suddenly thousands of people feel bad about themselves.
Yes, but maybe that person studied 6 hours a day, already knew a similar language, had private tutoring, lived abroad, and also maybe exaggerated a little for dramatic effect.
Which people on the internet would never do.
Never, certainly not.
So, comparison is not very helpful. Your journey is your journey. The goal is not to be the fastest learner in the comment section. The goal is to improve over time.
I also think learners should spend less time passively collecting tips.
Yes, there is a difference between learning tips and doing the actual learning.
Watching 30 videos about the best method is not the same as studying.
And sometimes people know a lot about language learning as a topic, but they are not actually improving in the language itself.
Exactly. At some point, you have to stop organizing the bookshelf and read the book.
Nice, very nice.
Before we finish, let's give one simple plan for someone who wants to start this week.
Good idea.
Okay, pick one language. That sounds obvious, but some people try to learn 3 at once.
Yes, and unless you are some kind of language superhero, that is probably too much.
Then choose one main daily activity for listening, one small review activity, and one speaking activity.
For example, listen to one short podcast episode each day, review 10 phrases, and speak out loud for 5 minutes.
Then once a week, do something a little bigger, maybe a conversation class, a longer video, a short writing task, or a chat with a tutor.
Yes, daily small practice plus one slightly bigger weekly session. That is a very solid plan.
And keep going for a month before you decide your method is not working.
That is important. Do not change your whole system every 4 days. Give it time.
Because language learning is not instant, it's gradual, and gradual doesn't mean ineffective, it just means human.
That might be my favorite line from this episode.
So if you had to give one final piece of advice, what would it be?
I would say this: make the language part of your life, not just a subject you visit sometimes. Listen while you walk, read short things on your phone, save phrases you like, speak to yourself. Notice the language often. Let it become familiar.
I love that. My advice would be do not wait to feel perfect before you start using the language. Start early, start simply, start badly if you have to. Awkward practice is still practice.
Yes, nobody becomes confident by only preparing forever.
Exactly. Confidence usually comes after action, not before it.
And also, be kind to yourself. Some days you'll feel smart and capable. Other days you'll forget a basic word and wonder what happened to your brain.
That's completely normal.
Yes, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning.
And if you keep going, even slowly, you will improve.
Slow progress is still progress.
And honestly, slow progress is much better than fast quitting.
That should be on a t-shirt.
I would wear it.
So that's our first episode of the Simple English Podcast.
Today we talked about how to learn a new language in 2026.
We said that modern tools are helpful, but consistency matters more than fancy systems.
We said grammar is important, but communication matters too.
We said AI can be a great helper, but it shouldn't be your whole language world.
And most importantly, we said you don't need a perfect plan. You need a realistic plan that you can actually follow.
Thanks so much for listening.
We hope this episode helped you feel more confident, more relaxed, and more ready to learn.
And if you come back next time, we'll have another interesting topic in simple, clear English.
See you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.